If you look past the empty office headlines, the real pressure in commercial real estate is not emotional, it is mathematical, and math does not negotiate. Our strategy approaches this through sequencing, not collapse narratives. What we are watching is a refinancing cycle colliding with structural policy shifts. Debt that was priced near 3% during the zero-rate era is now rolling into a world closer to 6 or 7%. That spread alone compresses equity returns even before we discuss vacancy. When occupancy is structurally lower and operating costs like insurance, taxes, and utilities continue to rise, net operating income absorbs the shock. If it cannot, valuations adjust. Now layer in the second mechanism. Cities are accelerating office to residential conversions while simultaneously pushing electrification and decarbonization mandates over the next decade. Regardless of one's political view, the transmission channel is capital expenditure. Retrofitting aging buildings increases required investment per unit. If rent growth is softening at the same time financing costs are rising, smaller and leveraged operators face margin compression. This is not a dramatic overnight collapse. It is phase 2, multiple compression building beneath the surface. As of early 2026, our strategy assigns roughly a 60% probability that commercial real estate remains in a contained compression phase through December 2026. We assign roughly a 30% probability that credit stress tied to regional banks or private credit exposure accelerates into a broader phase 3 breakdown before June 2027. A full force liquidity cascade across labor, credit, and funding markets remains closer to 10% over that same horizon, but that probability rises if unemployment inflects higher and high yield spreads widen materially. Before we go further, a quick note. This framework is educational and probability-based. It is not financial advice, and it is not a prediction. It is a structured way to observe risk transmission. If you find value in this type of phase-based analysis, consider subscribing. The goal is not to chase headlines, but to understand how liquidity, credit, and policy interact over time. Subscribing simply ensures you continue building that signal awareness as conditions evolve. Now, what would confirm escalation? Watch commercial mortgage-backed security delinquency rates. Watch regional bank balance sheets and loan loss provisions. Watch high-yield spreads in real estate-heavy issuers. And most importantly, watch labor in urban cores dependent on office employment. Vacancy alone does not create systemic crisis. Credit transmission does. What would invalidate the stress thesis? Sustained compression in credit spreads despite heavy maturities. Stabilization or decline in long-term yields that meaningfully lowers refinancing burden. And evidence that office conversions absorb inventory without triggering rent collapse. The commercial real estate story is not just about empty buildings. It is about refinancing arithmetic meeting regulatory sequencing. Our strategy does not need dramatic language. We need alignment between signals. And right now, the signals suggest compression first. Systemic risk only if credit confirms.